Back today to do another live reading for you guys. I do want to check my audio really quickly before I begin and make sure that the video and audio are synced. Just a second. I think it is. It's hard to tell, but I think it is. So, anyways, I recently, yesterday, completed a handmade tarot deck. You can see it's one of my paper decks, which have writing on it. And so I decided today, I was like, I'm really excited with this new deck. I want to record. I recorded on Instagram, recording here today to share this deck. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this deck because it's very personal to me. And, for those of you who followed me for the last 2 years, you'll know that I've had kind of a crazy roller coaster ride of things going on in my life for 2 years. And I decided, like, during this period of time, to start really, keeping my receipts for things that I've spent money on. And I tucked those away in a book. And basically, it's like lessons I've learned about money by hanging on to these receipts and kind of watching how I'm spending money and what I'm putting my energy and time to. And by doing that, essentially, I learned so much. I learned so many life lessons about myself, about things in general, about love, about the things of value. And so I really wanted to share this deck with everybody because it's really unique and different. And yeah, there's a lot of, there's other people out there that, probably may have similar themes, decks with similar themes. But essentially, I'm not going to be talking about situationships in this reading. I'm not going to be talking about like a lot of like the very high popular, like, is somebody going to come back? I'm not going to be talking about signs. I'm really just basically talking about like themes and life lessons that I see for people that are watching. This is a timeless reading. This is for all signs, and this is for people who kind of like want to see what's going to be what's coming up in their life or what lessons they need to be learning at this time or what they're going to be learning from either situations in their life, like things that are going on with their family, their friends, could be in their love life, things that are going on with their finances. This deck really covers a lot of ground. And I don't know what I'm going to get. I have shuffled since I record on Instagram today, so I don't know what I'm going to get, and I'm really excited to see what I get. But before I jump in, I do want to remind everybody that I'm having a schedule change of the end of July, and my prices are going to be going up at that time. So those of you who want to book a private reading, I would encourage you to do so this month before, I'd say, the 29th of July. Starting August 1st, my prices are going to be going up significantly. I think it'll be probably in the ballpark of $100 to $150 for reading, which may be high for me. And I've tried to keep my prices reasonable because of inflation and all kinds of stuff. But like, essentially, once I make this shift into the fall, those are my prices. So that's what's going to be happening with my prices. So those of you who want to book, now would be the time to book. You're going to want to send a payment wait for me to email to get scheduled, or you can email me and be like, hey, I just sent a payment. Let me know some best days and times. It really helps to have time zones, so please put that in your email as well, what time zone you're in. I'm checking my audio one more time here, making sure we're okay. Yes. Okay. So I am going to jump in and see what we got. This is a very interesting reading, and I had no idea what I was going to get here. It is kind of overwhelming and a little bit scattered. Um, the first thing that I see is that someone watching is going to get pregnant, or there's some element of pregnancy here. Either you are pregnant or you're going to get pregnant. The pregnancy is showing up. So whether you're, expecting, or whether you're planning, there's something about pregnancy here. It's in the center of the reading. It's the first card that I pulled. So it says pregnancy. You get pregnant. You should buy a test. You should test just to have a test, just in case. But it's just showing up as an energy here in the center. I also see this card about expansion and growth, about how at certain points in our life we really are aching for change. We're aching to break out of whatever cage that we're in, or whatever limiting life circumstances we're in, or whatever trench that we're in, or whatever it is that we're doing that's like restrictive in some way. And to me, it's like this breaking of like boundaries and like expanding, and expansion and growth. So for those of you who are not planning on getting pregnant, and you are maybe like past the point that you could get pregnant, or let's just say you're male and you're watching, so there's no way you could get pregnant. To me, this is wanting very much to expand and grow past whatever is the point in which you are living right now. So whatever way your life has been, it's not enough for you to feel satisfied. You need more. You need something different. You need something to change. You need something to kind of, you want, you need maybe more space. To me, like there's a very strong Sagittarius element here, which I think everybody has. And the Sagittarius element, to me, has a strong need for freedom, but they also have a strong need for space, personal space. Even just like, you can't coop up a Sagittarius. They have to run. They have to be outside. They have to do things. They cannot stay cooped up. They cannot live under, severe restrictions. It's like a horse that needs to run wild. You cannot cage a horse for too long before it just, it's just stopping in its stall and it just wants to go out. So essentially, some of you may feel cooped up. Some of you may feel that that for whatever reason, the things that you're doing in life are not satisfying. In the sense that you are needing more space. You're needing the things to change. You're wanting to expand and grow. One of the financial lessons I learned in the last 2 years is spending a very little and getting a lot for my money. So buying things that were at a discount, buying things in bulk that were at a discount, like finding diapers at Goodwill, you know what I mean? Things like that would be like an example. But like for some of you, like to me, this is like needing to kind of explore budgeting better, needing to explore how to buy bulk or things for less, for very little, get more for your money out of things. That's the energy. I call this card the Amazing Haul card. Now, it is a very satisfying card in the sense that like many of you will be buying many items, like doing like a haul for something, which you'll be really happy about. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be buying discounted items, but like you'll be thinking about prices. And I would encourage you, this is a lesson. So I would encourage you to look at things from that perspective of trying to buy in bulk, try to buy used, things like that. You're going to feel more satisfying than buying like one thing for $500. You could buy like seriously, if like you went to Goodwill and you had $500, you'd have like 4 or 5 years worth of clothes, essentially, maybe more than that. So something to consider. It's coming up here. It's an energy here that's coming up. Now you did get one of my favorite cards in this deck is the swimming goggles card, and the swimming goggles card is a card that I made because I literally bought swimming goggles for so that I could go for a swim. And I had, I don't know how long it's been since I bought swimming goggles. But essentially, like this deck, I call this my 2022-2023 deck for a reason. My life, money, and lessons in love deck, essentially. That's what I call it. It's, essentially kind of like, it's about exploring things from kind of a unique or different way. Like most people, they have a job. And when you have a job, you have steady, stable income or a way to pay the bills. And they have some extra. But like when you don't have a job, it's sort of like you lose all the things that you would be buying or all the experiences you would have had if you had had the job. And so it's sort of like this, it's about gains and losses. It's about polarity. It's about perspective. And the swimming goggles is about regaining the sense of playfulness that you may have lost. Like, and even if you do, let's just say have $1 million in the bank, you still may have lost your sense of playfulness. And like buying goggles was like, they were $3.99. Okay, they were $3.99. But like going for a swim is something that I've wanted to do like for a very long time now. And there was a point in time, this was actually, I think in 2020, where I could not afford the $3 to go to the local community pool. And like that was really bad. That was a really bad point. And I did not like that point. But the thing is that again, the counterbalance is like buying swimming goggles, which is fun, and which would be something to do that's gonna give me a sense of play during this past time where I don't know, for many of you, you may have lost your sense of play because you're so focused on other things. Maybe you're so focused on career, maybe you're so focused on family, or maybe you're so focused that on things that you're trying to push forward in your life, but you're not necessarily getting to do all the fun things that you would want to do. So swimming goggles is about beach trips, swimming in the river, having a sense of humor, having a positive mood. It's a very positive card. And it is about summertime as well. So embracing the summertime, embracing the fun, doing fun things with yourself, friends, family, kids, stuff like that. Hi, Jaylee. Thanks so much for saying hi. There is this card about being kind to yourself and understanding self-love. Some people just don't really understand self-love, and I'm not going to go too far into self-love here today, but we do have this card about being kind to yourself. And to me, it's about buying something for yourself that fills your cup, that does something for you. Like a lot of people, they spend all of their money on their kids, or they spend all their on their family or on their partner, and they don't really take care of themselves or spend money on themselves. So this is a card about needing to spend money on yourself, needing to buy yourself something that's going to bring you some joy, something that you want. It's not about it being expensive. It's about buying yourself something on a whim. And again, people have this crazy perspective. It's got to be expensive, or like they're like, oh, I really want those diamond earrings, or I really want that $2,000 handbag. but like they won't go buy themselves something that's $5 that would make them really happy. And for some people, again, they might not be happy with a $5 item. So this is where, there's all different kinds of people out there in the world. And the lesson is about being kind to yourself. And for some of you, this is going to be a harder one because you're not kind to yourself, because you how do I say this? You would put off buying yourself something because the something that you want is, out of your budget. So then it doesn't happen, so that you don't end up doing it. And then therefore you never buy yourself anything, or you never treat yourself nice. And then therefore you get put last. And then you wonder why you're unhappy because you're putting yourself last. So make sure that you're doing something nice for yourself. And by that meaning, buy something for yourself on a whim. Something like, take yourself shopping and be like, I really like that. I'm going to buy that. Let's do it. Especially if any of you have any kind of like what I call the depression era energy, this was like maybe influence from parents or grandparents, where, they basically didn't do anything on a whim. They just didn't go out and buy stuff just to buy stuff to make them themselves happy. No, like they didn't buy the new shirt at all. In fact, they sewed the new shirt 1,000,000 times if it had holes in it. And like wore the same shirt for I don't know how long. So again, it's very like, for some of you, it's been too long since you did something on a whim that maybe it's in your budget to do, but you just don't do it. Doing something nice for yourself, but you just don't do it. Doing something nice for yourself, but you make excuses of why you don't do it. Doing something nice for yourself so that you've stopped basically spending on yourself, and then therefore you aren't really able to understand what that feeling is or what that process even is. I went shopping with this for an old friend of mine once, and she had forgotten how to kind of just be like, I like those shoes, I'm going to get them. Here's my card, or here's some cash. Like it's simple. For some people, it's much more complicated. And so I'm encouraging you to kind of keep it a little bit. Remember what it's like to be impulsive. Remember what it's like to make a pretty decision. Remember what it's like to buy something and not think about it. To buy something and not worry about how much it's going to cost. To buy something for yourself that's like under $10 that may not be in your, grand scheme of planning, but it is something that's going to bring you joy in the moment. And that process, I feel like actually is very interesting, because the difference between her and I at that time was that I didn't have that kind of conditioning. I didn't have that kind of programming of, I've got to think about this a really long time before I buy it. Or I've got to like budget it for years and years and years. Or I've got to like not do it because I've got to put money towards something else. It wasn't that I had a lot of money at that time. It was more like I knew that I had money to spend. When I went shopping, if I liked something, I bought it. It was like a no-brainer. So some of you need to really work on that process. And because I was in that process of like, buying things on a whim for myself, it brought me a lot of joy. They call it retail therapy for a reason, So I'm just saying. I feel like some of you are blocked by people in your life that aren't treating you right. Number one. And that you feel Number one, I feel like there's a lot of stuff about relationships coming up here that you're trying to work through. Some of you may have felt like you've been treated badly by people, or maybe you've been, or maybe you've treated other people badly, and I feel like you're trying to work that through. Similar to what I did on Instagram, only in this one, it feels more like other people actually are treating you badly. That's what it feels like. But I also feel like it's very important for you to work on understanding your part in every situation that happens. Understanding your part in fueling the fire. Holding on to anger, holding on to hate, holding on to rage, holding on to resentment, holding on to grudges, letting things build up to the point where you basically just are walking around angry. Letting things build up to the point where nothing is ever really addressed. Letting things build up to the point where, you have a serious issue with other people not treating you right. That's all that I really want to say about that. I could talk about that more, but to me, it's something that you're going to want to understand and work on better. Working on expressing yourself in a way that lets people know your boundaries, that lets people know that you're not going to tolerate whatever it is they're doing, or that you're not going to stand for any of the stuff that's going on. I feel like, though, there's an element of conflict that's coming up here with this, in the sense, if it's more about, to me, it has a more emotional quality to it, where it's more like, even if, let's say, nothing is currently happening, like no drama is in play, it just feels like emotionally you're carrying a baggage from past situations or past people that have not treated you right. And I feel like some of you very much are expecting an apology, or very much want some kind of closure, or very much want something, that kind of behavior from others to end. And it's only going to end when you work on it. When you work on your letting go of negative emotions, letting go of your anger, letting go of situations that weren't fulfilling. It's sort of like, yeah, it's like carrying around the baggage of the past. That's what it feels like. They say that when you hate, it's more damaging to yourself than it is to other people. Um and I do feel like that's true. I do. I feel like it sucks your soul dry. And you're going to ask the question, well, how can I let go of hate or anger when somebody has done something to me? And it's very true that they may have done that. It's very true that you might not even have had anything to do with why they did that. And it may be true that they were in the wrong. But it's also true that you cannot continue to hang on to negative emotions with regards to situations and people that didn't treat you right. You cannot continue to hate them or be angry with them, or carry around that anger, rage, hatred, unforgiveness. Basically, it's an energy of like expecting an apology, or expecting them to do better, or expecting, because because it's only going to damage you. It's only going to hurt you. It's only going to make you feel hollow. Basically, it's going to eat your insides up. And it's going to actually turn you into being rotten as well. Right, patience, right. But to me, this is not about patience. To me, this is about addressing your emotions, addressing the fact that you are expecting something else to happen. In some way, it's sort of like a long time ago, many years ago, I was so angry that things were not going the way that I wanted them to go. I was so angry. And I told this to my friend, and she tried to basically tell me what I'm telling you, which was about how I had to address my emotions. I had to address the feelings that I had. I couldn't, regardless of the situation, I couldn't just keep carrying around all of that negativity because it was just going to eat me up inside and it was not going to be helpful to the universe. So it's kind of a little bit of a mind fuck or a little bit of a tricky thing where with the universe, because it's sort of like if you rage against the universe, what's going to happen? The universe is going to send you more rage and angry people. If you send out the energy of love, the universe is going to reflect that back to you. So it's very, very hard to overcome these kinds of cycles. And I think it's very hard to overcome situations in which, yeah, like somebody does do you wrong, or somebody, yeah, does do something they shouldn't have done. Or, yeah, somebody treats you like crap. But you can't hang on to it. You have to work on letting it go. You have to say, okay, this is my part in it. I participated. Whatever this situation is, I'm going to learn from and move on from it. It's part of understanding not only quantum physics, quantum field, but also understanding that reflective side to things. Some of you may, want, let's just say, validation in the sense that you want somebody to recognize that, like, somebody did do you wrong. Maybe somebody did you dirty, maybe someone lied, People lie, people steal, people are shitty, people suck, okay, at times. And they do things that aren't great and they hurt other people. But like, we can't keep carrying around all that hate for them or that kind of, in some way, slightly manipulative, controlling, like wanting them to change, wanting them to apologize, wanting them to do better. Because it's sort of like wanting them to do that so that you can because it then would give you permission to release the anger. It would then say, okay, it's like giving your power away. It's like, and I've done this myself, and it's really, really hard. Okay, this is a really hard challenge. It's like saying to somebody else, I'm going to let go when you let go. It's like one of those Chinese, like finger torture things when both people are pulling. You can't get out of it. It's like a little toy where you put your finger in and somebody else puts their finger in, and basically it's like you get stuck when you're both pulling. That's what the energy is. When you're pulling and they're pulling, they're being stubborn and you're angry. Essentially, you can't get out of it. You're learning nothing. But like when you kind of push towards each other a little bit and relax, you're released. And that's basically the energy that needs to happen. What needs to happen is you need to say, I don't need somebody else to apologize to move on. I don't need somebody else to tell me it's over for it to be over. I don't need somebody else to basically tell you that you're right, or to apologize and say that they're sorry for being a dick, or to tell you that they cheated on you with God knows how many people and the reason they did it was because they were being selfish. You don't need anything from anybody, essentially, to move on, to get permission to let it go. You can just let it go. I know this is going to sound like, very hard for many people, and it's kind of mind-blowing a little bit to think that nobody told me this sooner. But like, I hung on to things for way too long. And sometimes I still do. And it's totally okay to be that person that doesn't want to let go. It's okay to be that person that's angry that somebody didn't treat you better, or that shit happened and it just didn't go right, and things just didn't go right the way you wanted them to go. It's totally okay to be that person that's just fucking hating the world for whatever it is that they have done and for the situations it has caused. Because trust me, I think that we've all gotten to a place where we felt that, But at the same time, if you want to really get to the heart of the lesson, it's like saying, okay, you can move on without them. You can stop being angry at the world, without the world treating you better. You can move on without the apology. You can move on without the dick coming forward and being like, yeah, I was a dick. I meet a lot of women, I'm just going to say this, women specifically, who really need the closure. But they need more closure than I've ever seen in my life. The people that need like extra closure are the people that really, really, really need to let go. And they really, really need to say, I'm done. And they really, really need to pull their power back. And I'm not giving you permission. Nobody needs to give you permission, okay, to pull your power back. You just can do it. You just go ahead and do it. And be like, I don't need anybody's permission. It's over when I say it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you got to do. Like, it's done. You don't need to wait for somebody else to give you closure to move on. You don't need them to give you permission to move on as well, either. So this is a tough one. My YouTube followers, this is a tough one. But it's one of those things where it was a hard lesson for me to learn personally. And the sooner that you learn it, the better off you will be. So I'm gonna leave that one there. There's some other good ones coming through here I want to talk about. Some of you are hanging in there. I call it hanging in there like a champ. I call it the Champion of the World card, which is about hanging in there like a champ. Now, this is in the position of emotions. Maybe it was. I don't know. I lost the positions of the cards here. So, but anyways, the Champion of the World is about, doing a small return, bringing your account up to the $10, like, you're in the positive by $10, and you're kind of hanging in there like a champ, like where you're essentially just making it, just getting by, trying to just stay ahead by a small amount. And emotionally, some of you, that's where you're at. Like, you're a little bit ahead. Emotionally, you're a little bit ahead. And by that little bit, you're just kind of getting by. For some of you, you're just kind of hanging in there, emotionally, by a little bit. To me, during this whole 2-year period of time, there were times in which I had, $2 in my checking account, right? $2 in my checking account, and I'd be like, well, what can I do with that? And I would go to Goodwill and I'd find something for $1.69. Or I'd find something for 99 cents. And I count the quarters. I count my change. And it was like those little bits of things that kept me going. Those little small amounts. So for some of you, you need to actually, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but like buy stuff that's like, even when you don't have a lot, that keeps you going, that fuels you to keep going. It's not about like, even at the end of the day, really what you're buying, it's just keeping you going through a time in which you don't have very much, but you're making something out of very little, making something with basically nothing. Now, for some, this will be like living too small. And others, this is going to be a practice and how to get yourself through a tough time. It's a practice. Like, there was a woman who said, when you're going through a tough time, make your bed, make some soup, bake a banana bread, do something. And I mentioned the banana bread. Somebody else mentioned that she had made that. I think it was Annie. I don't know what her name is, but it's doing this something to keep you going. It's like the rhythm of life to keep you going. So like even if you don't have that much, if you have $2 and you can go find something for 99 cents at Goodwill, I would encourage you to do that. It's not about like again, what you're buying so much is the process of just doing something so that you are continuously like getting through your life and you're making your way through time and you are doing stuff not just to keep busy, but like so that you keep going. Essentially, that's what it is. It just keeps you going. It gets you out of the house. It gets you out of bed. It gets you into your car. It gets you to talk to the person that's at the store. It gets you out of whatever thing that's going on in your head. So some of you are hanging in there like a champ, and that's awesome. Okay, so I do like to see that you're hanging in there. And that's, to me, it talks again about the process of hanging in there. You do also have this beautiful card, this beautiful horses running card, which the horses, Nora's wanting me to say hi. I didn't see you just then. Hi, Nora. What in the hell? Michael Jackson. I don't know what that was about. Anyways, I was talking about the horses running card. And the horses running card is about the dog days being over and the cycle of hardship coming to an end. It means kind of like a piece of like a time period of your life where things are easy, things are more graceful, and there's very much heart-based connections with this horse's energy. It's about the heart-based connection. The horses, to me, when the horses show up, the horses to me are signifying things being better. It also signifies a shift or change in energy to being like more heart-based. A shift or change in the energy from being really, really challenging to just like an energy of feeling supported. So it's a beautiful card. It's a beautiful energy. Especially like if you see randomly, let's just say you were on like, Instagram or something and you're scrolling, or like, you're on YouTube and all of a sudden, you're going through your day and then all of a sudden you see a clip about like a horse and her foal, okay, and like a little foal. That would be like a good omen. I see that as a sign that things are shifting, changing for the better. It's a sign kind of like of new beginnings, of like a breath of fresh air, essentially. But I also feel like for many people, we go through cycles of our life, and like we stay in a cycle for a very long time. And like it can be very frustrating to kind of want to get out of a cycle. But you only really get out until it's like you don't notice a shift when it's happening and then suddenly you're out. So some of you're going to notice the shift, okay? If you see horses, number one. If you see a horse with a foal, number two. If you dream about horses, number three. And you're going to realize that you're out of, let's just say, Dodge. Like you're out of the woods. If you see horses, but also when you're out of the woods, you'll realize that cycle is over. Like that's, to me, the energy here. The outcome is a very funny card. Well, not funny, but like, it's funny to me because I can't even believe that I have this card in this deck. I call this the camo gear, okay? Camo gear card, okay? And the Camo Gear card is about buying things that are survival related. Okay. So buying camo gear for hunting purposes, buying camping gear, buying fishing gear. This is also about making next level life decisions. Okay. So like there's a YouTuber, I forget his name now, but basically he did like a bunch of videos about how he built a cabin. He's like, I'm making this life decision with my partner and I'm gonna build a cabin. I've seen many YouTubers that have said, I'm making XYZ decision to uh move to a certain place so that they can become more self-sufficient, so that they can become debt-free, so that they don't have to necessarily rely on other people. These are decisions that a lot of people I feel like are going to be making at this time. And they're big life decisions, buying a small piece of property, investing in, let's just say, a little bit of land, maybe refurbishing a small farm. Things like that are all part of this card. Learning about hunting, learning about fishing, learning about gardening. Like last season, it taught me so much. Gardening taught me so much because there was so much that went into keeping all the plants here, where I live, alive, but also not actually for the amount of work that I put into it, being able to harvest all that much. Like there was a lot. And I had pumpkins kind of coming out my ears. And I still have pumpkins from last season. So there was a lot of abundance. There was. But for the amount of work, I felt like I didn't get for what I put into it. I didn't get as much as I thought out of it, if that makes sense. Like I put so many seeds and so much effort, and there was a lot of stuff that just did not grow. And I think that to become self-sufficient, I feel like people are really going to need to be schooled on how to be a successful gardener, not just to be like, okay, I'm going to plant seeds at the right time and water everything. It's how to be successful, how to like do it more efficiently, how to get the most out of all the seeds that you're using and all of the, plant gardening things that you're doing. It's sort of like a next level kind of way of thinking about it. Rather than just being like, going to plant a garden this year, and yes, we're going to see what we get, and yes, we're going to put in effort. It's like, no, how to really learn to garden or grow food to survive from it. Like it's a different level or different approach altogether. I do feel like that's the energy here. It did come up a little bit on Instagram. There is another card that's sort of similar, but there's no other card that talks about buying camo gear, camping gear, fishing gear, things like that. So, it's one of those things where you're gonna want to make some life decisions about self-sufficiency and where you're at with self-sufficiency. And I did mention, and I will just say this here, that on this channel, I have really stepped back from having these hard conversations because I felt like it's not really doing a lot of people that much good, and it's not really helping me move forward. I felt like a lot of resistance from it energetically. So essentially, I pulled most of my videos that talked about any of the stuff that we could go into with that. So I'm just gonna say that this is one of the things. This was a lesson that came up in the last 2 years, like a theme, and it's something that I feel like many of you are going to really want to consider. The last card that I'm going to talk about is the chocolate brownies card. And the chocolate brownies card is actually it's really one of the better cards, one of the sweetest cards. It's about happiness and love and like a smiling face when you eat a chocolate brownie and it's really good. Your brain kind of registers happiness. So I wrote, when in doubt or despair, eat some chocolate brownies. But the chocolate brownies is also like a great way to, I don't know, change the energy from being negative to being positive. Like, I feel like many people at this time don't even remember what it's like to be happy anymore. Like, nobody really knows. And people really have gone through a lot in the last 3 years. And I feel like, the times that I've been able to be in the positive energy are times when I was eating something really good, or maybe eating a chocolate brownie, or maybe thinking positively about stuff. And it's just like little things that can shift the energy into being more positive. Like, okay, this people have asked many times about how to raise your vibration, okay? Because it's sort of like kind of like this idea that's kind of out there for a lot of people. But literally, if you were to eat a chocolate brownie, let's just say you were having a bad day, and all of a sudden you just start to smile. All of a sudden you start to feel like that chocolate euphoria. You're raising your vibration because you're not thinking about the crap that went on at work, or the people in your life that suck, or like how you got to make car repairs, or how blah 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 is happening with the boyfriend or girlfriend, or who's texting you, who's not. It's just like all of a sudden you're in that place of positivity, and that raises your vibration when you're in that place of positivity. So it's an interesting outcome. I'm not sure how you guys are going to get here. I feel like actually some of you, this is a very like in some way challenging reading. It's always challenging on YouTube, I feel, because people, it's like I'm reading all this stuff that I had like the hardest challenge with. The hardest challenge. Like how to forgive somebody when I really couldn't understand why they did what they did. How could I let go of the anger or hatred when somebody did XYZ? It's a bigger, to me, that these are bigger issues than just, I don't know. Like I feel like many people are going to resonate with this for some reason. Like I feel like these are bigger collective issues that that I'm talking about, and people resist being in that place of positivity. They resist eating a chocolate brownie if like they just don't. They don't do the small stuff. They don't really think about like how to I don't know, get more for their money, or like how to do things that make them happy. Like I used to have this, and I've talked about this before. Like I used to ask my grandmother all the time, like about the things that she was doing. Why didn't she just take a photography class? What was she doing that was small stuff for her? All this stuff that she didn't do is in this deck. The stuff she didn't do to make herself feel happy was take ownership for her part in stuff, for the emotions that she felt, and let those go. What she didn't do is do small stuff for her. She didn't buy small stuff for her, like ever. She didn't allow herself to live life fully. She didn't allow herself to really even eat the chocolate brownie. I mean, yeah, she did make brownies, so yeah, she did eat them. But like, I guess what I'm saying is like, she didn't think of it in a way of positivity. So, and I'm not saying this to criticize her. I'm saying this, she was unhappy for a very long period of time. So like, if you're in a place of unhappiness, this is going to apply to you. If you're in a good place, then these are things to think about that might involve other people in your life. But this is also things to think about for your future, things that haven't yet come to pass. So let's just say you're having a crap day. It's time to go out and buy the chocolate brownie, okay? Let's just say you're, you've been in a cycle of tough stuff for a while, and then you see the horses. You know that the cycle is ending, and that's going to be a relief for you. Let's just say you've been treated poorly by other people for a really long time. This is the time in which you take your power back and you say, you know what? I forgive them. I forgive them for doing stuff that sucked, but I can move past it. And I can think about myself and take care of myself and do what they didn't do. And I can take care of others and do what they didn't do. So you gotta have to take your power back. It's sort of like, let's just say you were raised in kind of like, let's just say an abusive household. It's like you can raise kids in a healthy, happy, safe home, and be the person that isn't what you came from. If you were to continue being angry and upset about being treated a certain way, then essentially you haven't broken the pattern. So it's up to you to break the pattern and break the cycle. That's what I'm trying to say. I think I'm gonna leave it off here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Appreciate it so much. I send everyone big hugs, big kisses. I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. All the best. Bye, guys.